Hello, A Day with Caleb. We are back. This time we are taking a look at bad spin off films. Now, this is take a franchise, and this is spin off films from the movie, from the franchise, whatever. Uh, so, bad spin off films starting with Elektra, which is a spin off film from Daredevil. And I enjoy Elektra, but I know it has some uh, some very weird and bad choices in the making of that film. But Elektra did come back in a big way in Deadpool and Wolverine. Someone that didn't come back uh, is Catwoman, Halle Berry film. Uh, kind of, I guess you can't really do better as far as Catwoman than Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, even though Anne Hathaway did a good Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. Michelle Pfeiffer will be the standard as far as Catwoman, and Halle Berry did not do that, with the bad CGI, the basketball scene, kind of like the Daredevil seesaw scene, uh, Madam Web. so bad. The ADR, like you hear a voice but the lips don't move, and then the bad creative decisions. You don't see any of them in the suits that they're known for in the comics, except a very dream sequence, very short dream sequence. Snake Eyes, a film where he talks and you see him lose his voice, but we didn't really need to know why he doesn't talk. He just is. It's, some of the characters in film or, comics or shows, we don't need to know every answer or answer every question. Lightyear, a spin-off of the Toy Story franchise, litany of problems. Somewhere in there, there's a couple good scenes, the team and everything, but some of the decisions just not good. All three of the Hobbit films, but if we had to point out, probably Desolation of Smog being so bad. With the CGI dwarf mixed in with real actors with prosthetics, it didn't blend well, and then it really could have been wrapped up in two films, and it feels like this one is so inflated to try and, I guess, make up money. Some people did it well. Harry Potter had Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, which are a great two films. Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, could that have been in one film? Maybe, but solid two films. This, not the same case. Solo, Star Wars story, some good chemistry as far as, good casting, number one. Harrison Ford's younger self. There were good casting, for the most part, good story. Ron Howard, although the two guys from the Lego movie started to direct it, and then I think Ron Howard took it over. But then Ocean's 8, a sequel, but kind of its own thing too. For what it is a solid attempt at a heist movie, but doesn't live up to the standards of the Ocean's trilogy. Although I would like to see maybe a sequel where they kind of meld the two teams. That would be fun. Sandra Bullock and then George Clooney team up, kind of intermix the team to where you form 9 people and have Ocean's 9 and Ocean's 10 to complete the numbers. That would be cool, but did not live up to the standards the first 3, or even the original Rat Pack Oceans film, Men in Black International. No beating around that. That was not a good film. Even though I do like Chris Hemsworth, he is a tall individual in person. Met him with Chris Evans and Tom Hiddleston in Wizard World, Chicago, I believe. And I look like a little kid amongst men. But that was a good meetup there. I got the VIP, and I remember it was a lot of money, but compared to convention prices now, it was probably pretty reasonable for their autograph. It was right at the peak before they all kind of exploded in popularity. Ghostbusters 2016 answered the call. If they had leaned into the comedy more, and there is a few scenes that are funny, the mannequin chasing the one lady around the tunnels of the subway, that is pretty funny. And then Chris Hemsworth, who we just mentioned, he is kind of the secretary, office person. He's pretty funny. But it didn't, I guess, have the same pull as the first 2. Of course, this is a sequel to those. This is kind of an Elseworlds thing. And they kind of righted the ship with the 2. Of course, I haven't seen Frozen Empire, but Ghostbusters Afterlife, that was a solid sequel. The Hunger Games prequel with Snow White, what's her name? Rachel Zegler. It was pretty solid. Who'd have in it? Oprah, I think, is in it. And kind of tells the story of how the Hunger Games came to be. Again, doesn't hold a candle to the original films with Jennifer Lawrence. Hobbs and Shaw, I do actually like this, but I am a big Jason Statham fan. So really any of his movies I'm down with for the most part, with a few exceptions that are not quite as good. But I need to see Beekeeper. That's been on my list for quite some time, just haven't found it at a reasonable rate yet. But one day, Evan Almighty, Steve Carell, right around the time I think he quit The Office, to go full-time into movies. Not as good as Bruce Almighty, but there were some funny moments. Aliens versus Predator, you could say this is a spin-off from Predator and Aliens. There's a comic run, there's video games, there's a whole thing. A solid attempt in the first one. The sequel, Requiem, not so much. Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure. There's two of those. I forget the other one, but interesting films. Interesting. Pretty cool, actually. Planes, not anywhere to the level of the first Cars. Maybe kind of parallel with Cars 2, but not a good film. Supergirl was pretty cool for the time, but not as good as the Superman films, although you could say 4 is not that good. Scorpion King, again, not as good as the Mummy trilogy, but the first one at least is a pretty solid action film. The sequels dip in quality quite a bit. U.S. Marshals, actually a pretty solid film, but again, from The Fugitive, it doesn't even come close. Exorcist 2, not as good or suspenseful as the original Son of the Mask. There's an interview where Jamie Kennedy breaks down his experience with Son of the Mask. Go watch that. It's pretty interesting, but did not even come close to Jim Carrey and the Mask. Even though it has the lady from Monk, the TV show. Oh, why am I blanking on her name? Comment down below. Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. I do remember the guy with the mask and the claw is in that, but I don't remember really anything about that. Dumb and Dumber, kind of the prequel, sequel, with Shia LaBeouf, who is the standout in that movie. Still with Shaq, a spin-off of the Superman team. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Anytime you kind of staple Deadpool's mouth, and that's like that's the whole basis of his character as he talks, you're not winning fans over. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, probably the weakest of the Paranormal Activity movies. Beauty Shop, not as good as Barbershop, even though it has, a good solid cast. Queen Latifah, not as good as Barbershop. Then we have the Fast and Furious spin-off, even though now it's kind of a sequel, Tokyo Drift, which set up a lot of things they had to undo in the coming sequels. Pretty solid film. I think they paid Vin Diesel handsomely to make a cameo appearance at the end, so it kind of would tie in. Like, subscribe, share with a movie lover. Until next time, have you watched any of these bad spin-off films? If so, comment down below and keep collecting.